There comes a moment when God steps in and says, enough. You've been manipulated, you've been drained, you've questioned yourself more times than you can count. But what if I told you that the person you thought was meant to love you was actually sent to limit you? What if I told you that the pain of losing them is nothing compared to the destruction of keeping them? Today I want you to open your eyes to something powerful. God does not separate you to punish you. He separates you to preserve you. Because if you stay connected to the wrong people, you will never become who you were created to be. But here's what happens when God removes the narcissist from your life. For too long, you've been confused. You've doubted your worth. The narcissist had you believing that you were the problem. But the moment God separates you, clarity comes. You begin to see what was hidden. Emotional wounds take time, but when the toxic presence is gone, healing can finally start. You'll realize how much of yourself you gave away just to keep the wrong person happy. Narcissists hate losing control. When they see you growing, healing, and no longer dependent on them, they will try to pull you back into the cycle. But hear me, God does not remove someone from your life so you can invite them back in. God never removes without replacing. Once you let go of the toxic, He will send people who uplift you, honor you, and walk with you in your purpose. The weight that was holding you back is gone. You begin to move faster, think clearer, and walk boldly into your destiny. What seemed like a painful loss was actually the greatest blessing. So today, if God is separating you from someone, don't fight it. Don't question it. Trust that He sees what you don't. The same hands that remove are the same hands that restore. And when God restores, you never return to what broke you. Stay strong, stay focused, and walk forward, because your best days are ahead, not behind. When God steps in to separate you from a narcissist, it may not feel like a blessing at first. In fact, it often feels like a painful rejection, a sudden loss that leaves you questioning everything. You may ask, why did this happen? Or did I do something wrong? But hear this truth. Separation is not rejection. It is divine protection. God sees what you cannot see, and He knows what is being spoken behind closed doors, the hidden motives, and the silent plans formed against you. Many times we pray for God to bless us, to elevate us, and to take us to the next level. But what we don't realize is that before elevation, there must be separation. God cannot take you into your destiny while you are still attached to people who were never meant to go with you. Some relationships are seasonal, and when their time expires, holding on will only bring more pain. When God separates you, He is shielding you from something that would have harmed your spirit, your peace, and even your future. The challenge is, most people resist divine separation because they don't recognize it for what it is. They mistake it for failure. They think that losing a toxic relationship means they have lost something valuable. But God never removes anything from your life without a reason. Sometimes the greatest gift He can give you is distance. Distance from the lies, distance from manipulation, distance from the silent emotional attacks that were breaking you down without you even realizing it. And here's the truth. God does not want you in a constant battle for love, respect, or peace. He does not want you attached to someone who only values you when they need something from you. When He removes the narcissist from your life, He is cutting the chains that have been holding you back. It may feel like pain now, but soon you will see it as the breakthrough that set you free. For too long, you've been walking under a cloud of confusion, questioning your worth, doubting your own reality, and feeling emotionally exhausted. The narcissist in your life has mastered the art of manipulation, twisting your words, playing mind games, and making you believe that you are always the problem. But the moment God separates you from them, something powerful happens. The fog lifts. You begin to see clearly. You start to recognize the emotional and mental weight you were carrying. Things that once made you anxious suddenly no longer hold power over you. The doubts that were planted in your mind begin to fade, and the truth starts to rise. You realize that you were never the problem. The problem was the environment you were in. The problem was the person who needed to control you in order to feel powerful. The greatest deception of a narcissist is convincing you that you need them, that without them you are nothing. But when God removes them, He is revealing that you were always more than enough. You were just too close to see it. Distance brings revelation. When you step back, you begin to recall all the moments you ignored, the red flags you justified, and the ways you minimized your own feelings just to keep the peace. That peace you were fighting so hard for, it was never real. It was control disguised as love. But now, God is showing you the truth. And truth is the beginning of freedom. The moment clarity comes, healing begins. The moment you can see without manipulation clouding your vision, you finally understand God didn't take something from you. He saved you from something. When God removes a narcissist from your life, don't expect them to leave quietly. They won't just walk away and wish you well. No, they will try to return. They will test the door God has closed, hoping you will open it again. They will come back with apologies, sweet words, and even promises of change. But understand this, when God separates you, He is not giving you a temporary break. He is delivering you. The narcissist will sense that they are losing control over you, and that terrifies them. It was never about love. It was always about power. As long as they had influence over your emotions, your decisions, and your self-worth, they felt in control. But when you begin to heal, when you no longer respond to their manipulation, when their words no longer have the same effect on you, that's when they panic. That's when they try to pull you back in. They may use guilt, reminding you of the good times to make you forget the pain they caused. They may play the victim, pretending they have changed and that this time will be different. But God does not separate you just for you to go back. God does not remove someone from your life so you can invite them back in. If He has closed the door, it is because He sees what you don't. He knows that if you go back, the cycle will continue. The wounds that started healing will be reopened, and the same pain will repeat itself. This is your test. Will you trust God's separation, or will you allow temporary emotions to pull you back into what He rescued you from? If you let them back in, you delay your healing. If you keep looking back, you cannot move forward. The question is not whether they will try to return. The question is whether you will be strong enough to keep the door shut, because what's ahead of you is far greater than what God removed. When God removes a narcissist from your life, it may feel like loss at first, but what you don't realize is that it's actually the beginning of your healing. You have spent so much time walking on eggshells, trying to keep the peace, sacrificing your own happiness just to avoid conflict. You've been emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and spiritually suffocated without even realizing how deep the damage was. But now that the toxic presence is gone, healing can finally begin. For the first time in a long time, you start to breathe again. The weight you carry, the anxiety, the self-doubt, the constant need to prove yourself, it begins to lift. Your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter. You start rediscovering the version of yourself that was buried under years of manipulation and emotional abuse. And more than anything, you start to recognize that you deserve better. Healing is not just about moving on, it's about reclaiming your identity. The narcissist spends so much time trying to make you believe that you were not enough, that you were the problem, that you were lucky to have them. But now that they are gone, you see the truth. You were never the problem. You were just trapped in an environment that made you feel small. God is restoring everything they tried to take from you, your confidence, your joy, your peace. And as you heal, something amazing happens. You start to see who you really are. You begin to realize that you are not broken. You were just in a place that kept you from growing. Now God is leading you into a season of restoration. The wounds will heal, the pain will fade, and soon you will look back and realize that what once felt like a loss was actually the greatest blessing of your life. When God separates you from a narcissist, He is not just removing a person. He is breaking a spiritual stronghold. This is deeper than just walking away from a toxic relationship. This is about breaking free from a cycle that was designed to keep you stuck. A narcissist don't just manipulate your emotions, they attack your identity. They create an invisible prison around your mind, making you question your worth, your decisions, and even your reality. They drain your spirit, leaving you feeling powerless, dependent, and afraid to stand on your own. But when God steps in, He breaks the chains. At first you may feel confused. You may wonder why you still feel drawn to them, why you keep replaying old conversations, why a part of you still wants their validation even after all they did to you. That's because spiritual bondage doesn't break instantly. It takes time for your heart and mind to adjust to freedom. But the more you lean into God's presence, the more you allow His truth to replace the lies you were told, the stronger you become. You begin to see yourself the way He sees you: strong, valuable, chosen, and free. The spiritual oppression that kept you bound starts to lift. The emotional chains that made you feel unworthy begin to fall off. And here's the most powerful part. Once God delivers you, the narcissist loses their grip on you forever. What once controlled you no longer has power over you. The words that used to break you no longer affect you. The games they played no longer work, because when God sets you free, you are free indeed. When God separates you from a narcissist, He is making room for something greater. You see, as long as you were attached to the wrong person, you were blocking the right people from entering your life. The narcissist made you believe that they were the best you could ever have. They convinced you that no one else would love you the way they did, but what they really meant was no one else would tolerate their manipulation the way you did. They wanted to isolate you, to make you believe that without them you would be alone. But that was a lie. Now that God has removed them, you will begin to experience real healthy relationships. You will start attracting people who don't drain you but pour into you. People who celebrate you, not just tolerate you. People who love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. And here's the truth: God never removes without replacing, but He cannot give you His best while you are still holding on to the worst. As long as the narcissist was in your life, there was no space for the right people to come in. Now that they are gone, you are stepping into a season of divine connections. Get ready, because soon you will look back and thank God for the separation. You will see that what you thought was a painful loss was actually a divine setup for something far better than you ever imagined. When God separates you from a narcissist, He is also teaching you how to protect your heart. The experience you went through was painful, but it was also a lesson in discernment, in boundaries, and in recognizing deception before it traps you again. A narcissist thrives on access. The more access they have to your emotions, your time, and your energy, the more control they have over you. But now that you are free, God is teaching you how to guard your spirit. You are learning that not everyone deserves a place in your life. Not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions. Not everyone who says the right words is sent by God. This separation is not just about getting away from the wrong person. It's about becoming the person who will never allow that kind of manipulation again. You will no longer fall for empty promises. You will no longer excuse red flags just because you want to see the good in someone. You will no longer allow yourself to be drained by people who only take but never give. This time you will recognize the signs. You will see manipulation before it takes root. You will walk away before the damage is done. And most importantly, you will trust God's warnings when He shows you that someone is not meant to be in your life. What happened was painful, but it was also preparation. God didn't just deliver you, He equipped you. And now you are wiser, stronger, and ready to walk into a future where your heart is protected and your peace is no longer negotiable. When God separates you from a narcissist, He is not just rescuing you. He is preparing you for a new level of spiritual strength and emotional resilience. This separation is not just about escaping a toxic relationship. It's about transforming into a person who will never fall into the same trap again. The truth is, when you were with the narcissist, you didn't just lose time, you lost yourself. You sacrificed your peace just to avoid conflict. You shrank yourself to make them feel bigger. You ignored your own needs because you were constantly trying to meet theirs, and somewhere in the process, you forgot who you were. But now God is bringing you back to your true identity. This season of separation is not just about healing, it's about rebuilding. God is teaching you how to walk in confidence again, how to speak up for yourself, how to trust yourself. He is restoring your voice. The voice that was silenced when you were constantly being gaslighted. The voice that was shut down whenever you tried to express your feelings. The voice that was made to feel small so that the narcissist could feel powerful. God is giving it back to you. And here's what happens next. You become unshakable. The things that used to manipulate you no longer have power over you. You no longer seek validation from people who refuse to appreciate you. You no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as love. You no longer stay in places where your value is questioned. Instead, you rise. You step into the person God designed you to be. A person who is emotionally strong, spiritually discerning, and completely at peace. You see, the narcissist thought they were breaking you, but in reality, they were pushing you into your transformation. The pain they caused was painful, but it was also the very thing that pushed you closer to God. Now you are wiser. Now you are stronger. Now you are untouchable. And the best part, the very thing that was meant to destroy you is now the very thing that God is using to empower you. You are no longer a victim of the past. You are a survivor, a warrior, a person who will never settle for less again. This is your moment to step into your power, to embrace your worth, and to never allow anyone to dim your light again. The separation was not rejection, it was redirection. God was not punishing you, He was positioning you for something greater. And as you continue to heal, grow, and walk in your newfound strength, you will look back and realize that what you thought was a painful ending was actually the beginning of the best chapter of your life. When God separates you from a narcissist, He is setting you up for a life of true peace, purpose, and divine alignment. You may not have understood it in the beginning. It may have felt like a painful, confusing, and even unfair process. But now, as you step further into your healing, you begin to see the bigger picture. The narcissist was never part of your destiny. They were a detour, not your destination. Their presence in your life was a distraction, a delay, a weight that kept you from walking fully in the purpose God designed for you. And when God finally stepped in to remove them, it wasn't just about setting you free. It was about putting you back on course. Now you are walking in clarity. No more second guessing your worth. No more seeking love from people who don't know how to love. No more fighting for approval from those who were never meant to be part of your journey. You are no longer in bondage to someone else's manipulation, but fully surrendered to God's plan for your life. And here is the most powerful truth. God is not just removing what is wrong, He is making room for what is right. The love you were searching for in the wrong place, He is preparing to give you in the right place. The peace you longed for but never found, He is placing deep within your heart. The purpose that was buried under years of emotional exhaustion, He is bringing back to life. So don't look back with regret. Don't waste time wondering what if. Don't allow your mind to be trapped in the past, because your future is greater than what you lost. What's coming is better than what's behind you. The best days of your life are not connected to the people God removed. They are waiting in the place He is taking you. And one day soon you will look back and say, now I understand. Now I see why God had to separate me. Now I realize that what felt like rejection was actually protection, and what felt like loss was actually my greatest gain. This is the season of new beginnings. Walk in it with faith, confidence, and an unshakable trust that when God removes, He always restores with something far greater than you ever imagined.